Roswell has been a topic of conversation and controversy for decades. Though the story has been told from different perspectives over time, it seems that there has been no new concrete evidence in the last few years. In a recent trip to Roswell for the annual UFO festival, Open Minds researcher and radio host Alejandro Rojas met an individual new to the scene that may have discovered some astonishing new evidence that supports the notion that an alien spacecraft did indeed crash in the desert near Roswell.
Frank Kimbler came up to us at the Roswell UFO Museum. We had a table there with magazines, and he wanted to explain what he was doing. I knew about him a little bit from a year ago, and I knew he was doing some sort of research, but he wanted to give us some more detail and specifically give it to Open Minds because he wanted this information to get out.
Frank Kimbler is a teacher of geology at the New Mexico Military Institute in Roswell. Taking an interest in the case, he was able to spot an unusual scorch pattern in infrared satellite images of the desert near where the debris was supposed to have been found. He then went out to the site with a metal detector, and what he found was a silvery metal that looked like aluminum. This is an excerpt from the Open Minds radio show where Kimbler describes the event.
The metal detector that I've got can actually find metallic pieces as small as BBs down to a depth of 3 inches. I was lucky because the ground was damp. It makes for a really good metal detecting, so it had rained a few days before. And I was out there for probably 3, 4, maybe 5 hours swinging the metal detector. And then in an anthill, I got a ping that didn't sound like iron, because you can tell the difference in the metal detector. And I got pretty excited, and when I dug it up, it was down about a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch deep, and I held this silvery aluminum metallic object in my hand that was just, it was probably 8 or 10 millimeters long by maybe 4 or 5 millimeters wide. And I'm holding it, kind of staring at it, and I'm going, oh my gosh, it looked to me like the descriptions of the material. It looked like shiny aluminum.
This was strange because there were no indications of any sort of aluminum objects in the area. He eventually found more of these silvery pieces and says they looked shredded. Some of the edges even appeared melted. He also found some aluminum buttons that appeared to be the type used on military fatigues in the late 40s. Kimbler was able to find a lab with multiple certifications willing to do analysis on the debris. The UFO Museum in Roswell put up the money, and the results were back in 5 days. Kimbler says he almost fell over when he saw the information. The ratios were off, and as he puts it, there were only 2 answers to explain the results. Either the lab made an analytical error or the material is not from Earth.
He's taken something that's an aluminum, and he's able to explain that aluminum isn't found naturally. It is something that is synthesized. It has to be manufactured. He's taken that a step further to do this isotopic research. The isotope work is a little difficult to understand, and I guess what happens with different elements that you have in materials, they have a certain isotopic configuration if they're made here on Earth. In particular, he looked at magnesium. Now, if you look at magnesium found in a shell or in water or in different minerals, and it's made here on Earth, it's going to have similar isotopic values. However, if it's made somewhere else, not on this planet, then it will show that it was made somewhere else. For instance, when they find meteorites, they do an isotopic ratio analysis to determine whether this piece of rock is a meteorite from another planet or if it's something from Earth.
He plans on securing more analysis to verify that the findings are correct. Kimbler stated, quote, "Following good scientific method protocol, one set of data is not going to cut it," end quote. According to Kimbler, 2 more certified labs have lined up to do more isotopic testing and to confirm the work done thus far, and that he may have this work done within the next few weeks. There have been others claiming they have found anomalous metals and other debris from the Roswell crash site, but after testing is done on these objects, they turn out to be earthly in origin. We will keep you updated on Kimbler's discoveries, and as his results are presented to us, we will make them available to you. You can also listen to Kimbler's full radio interview with Alejandro Rojas at openminds.tv. Just click the radio tab. That's openminds.tv for all your latest news in ufology.